As someone who's spent time talking with actual members of the Ku Klux Klan, I'd like to know, who do you think they hate more, blacks or Jews?
Jews. It's not even. It's. I think black people. There's more of us, so we're easier to get to. But they definitely hate Jews more. There's no question. I've actually talked to people who've gotten out of the Klan or who are ex-neo-Nazis, and I had a guy say the hardest thing to let go of was the anti-Semitism. Like letting go of the hate of black people, they were like, well, of course, LeBron James is cool. Like they got, but letting go of the anti-Semitism is harder. It's more ingrained.
Look, I don't like Alan Dershowitz either, but I don't understand this as a Jewish man myself. When you talk about minorities, I mean, we're the minorities of the minorities. There are so few Jewish people in the world, but there's this anti-Semitic, racist idea that we're in control of everything, and so we're overrepresented.
The myths and stereotypes of a people, once they're told really well, they just settle in, and they just sort of like, and I think that once it's like, it also becomes a thing where then, and this happens for black people, we become defensive about our own myths and stereotypes. And so it like sort of builds a wall around even sort of demystifying it. You like, I don't want to engage with it at all, you know? So not that it's oppressed person's fault to be oppressed, but I do think that like, certainly I think because somehow Jewish people, the whole rule the world thing, no Klan member thinks a black person rules the world. So they're not that threatened by us. They just don't like us. It's the rule of the world thing that I think gets them with the Jewish people.
I think an episode for season 6 maybe just could be Upper East Side of Manhattan, and we'll just talk to them.
I always pitch stuff like that, but CNN likes it if it looks like I might die, and I don't know that I could claim to be afraid on the Upper East Side.
Before we bring in one of your current colleagues, I'd like to just talk briefly about one of your former colleagues at CNN, Anthony Bourdain, who you mentioned. It's hard to believe that next month, Kamau, will mark 2 years since his passing, June 8th. You had the rare privilege not only to know him, but to appear on his show, Parts Unknown, together in Kenya, spending time with him abroad. You must have developed a real sense of intimacy that went beyond the typical coworker relationship.
When we filmed that, I'm like, this is one of the greatest things of my life to happen. You know, like as we're in Kenya, every moment we're filming, I'm like, you know, sometimes you look back and go, oh, that was the good old days. There's occasionally I feel like you can experience the good old days while they're happening. And I'm like, this is the good old days right here. So I soaked up as much as I could of him, his crew, the experience. We rode in the, like even riding to wherever we filmed every day, we rode in the same car. Like he could have put me in a different car, but he wanted to we didn't really know each other that well. So I think he was like, I want to get to know him. So we hung out. Every night after we filmed the show, we'd all go back to the hotel and hit the crew, and me and him would hang out together and eat and drink. And I mean, so what I tell people is like, if you like Bourdain, then it's exactly what you think it is. Like it's like he was very much the guy you see on TV. I mean, he was more dynamic than that, but he was that guy. He wasn't, you know, and much like on the show, when you see him go like, no, I'm not want to do that. He did that in real life. Like one morning, the producer Mo came to him and said, so it's an early call tomorrow. It's 7:30. And Tony just looked at him. And he was like, 8:30? And Tony just looked at him. He said, 9:30. He's like, see you at 9:30. Like it was just like that was Tony. He did it his way.
My kind of guy. Did you have any sense being with him of the darkness that must have been plaguing him, or he was wrestling with at the time? Or?
I mean, the thing I've said before, he definitely was a guy with a heavy heart, but I think I know a lot of people with heavy hearts. So I think it doesn't mean that they're gonna kill themselves, but he definitely was a dude who was like had an open, big heart that he was trying to protect. And definitely, like, really, he just felt like a heavy-hearted dude. But like I've said that before, heavy-hearted people don't always kill themselves. You know, I have a lot of friends who are like that. I think I sort of attract those people. So, but yeah, I mean, I also have had enough people in my life, or enough people I've known who've taken their own lives, where you know you can't see it coming all the time. You know what I mean? So when that happens, you just know this person was going through something that they couldn't figure out. You know, or they got to a bad corner. I mean, you know. Robin Williams killed himself. Nobody who knew him saw that coming. I know a lot of people who knew him very well saw that coming. It's just that's a thing that somebody does in an instant that maybe they would regret if they knew it was happening. All I saw was a dude who was working real hard, and I was like, because he filmed. I have 8 shows a year. He was doing 16 shows a year, and for me, 8 is a lot. And so I was like, he's just on the road all the time. Like I came from my home, filmed with him for 11 days, and went back home. He came from like a shoot in West Virginia. Then came to Kenya, then went to a shoot in Texas, you know? So that's the thing I saw was like, I can't imagine working that much.
Isolate Night with Scott Rogowsky, live every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at 9 p.m. Eastern.